my name is Beck and welcome to my May to be read video. I'm making these reading plans, but at the same time I'm also ditching some past reading plans. So I've had a bit of a rough time lately during April and I had a reading slump during May. So in the past, what I've put on my TBR, I kind of wanted to put it to the side, not pressure myself too much because I really set these reading goals for me. And so I lowered from 100 to 50 instead, and I'm trying to be more low-key about it. Also, it is storming outside, so I'm sorry if that picks up. I don't think it has on the microphone, but who knows. So really I'm trying to preface this with hopefully most of the books in here will be a little tidbit of what I've previously said that I wanted to read, but without the pressure of finishing the entire book, for example. So the first book on this list is actually a new release, and I put it on here because it's short and it's going to help me towards feeling more motivated to read. And it's actually Heartstopper. It is the next volume in the series, not volume 1, which I'm holding up now. And I love this because it's so wholesome and cute. The friendship is really communicative and just positive, and I love that when faced with a book set in high school especially. I love how communication is quite clear. So that is one of the reasons that I love this. It's very wholesome and it's very easy to get through. I can get through one of these volumes in under an hour, so the new release will take me no time at all to read. I don't know if it comes out at the start, middle or end of May, but I have pre-ordered it, so I assume it'll rock up at some point at my house. So I'm looking forward to diving back into this series. I'm probably going to read the 4th one or the 5th one. I'm not sure what they are up to in the series. I think it's the 4th one, and then after that I will go back and reread the others and then read the 4th one again. So that is my general reading plan. I don't plan to reread all of these before the next one comes out because I just don't want to put that pressure on myself. And this is supposed to be like an easygoing, I can likely do this TBR. So Heartstopper is my first one. Let's get into the rest. Next up is a middle grade, and I said I wanted to read this imprint of books last year, but I never really made time to or got around to it because I was finishing the books that I already owned. And this is Arusha and the End of Time by Roxani Chokshi. I don't know what this is actually following, except that generally with Rick Riordan's Presents and with Rick Riordan's books, they follow young kids who go on a quest. It's very fantasy magic oriented, and honestly I just want that sense of adventure and that sense of wonder. So that's why this is on my TBR. Hopefully I can talk about it in a better sense and give you more of an idea of the plot, but I will link all of the books I talk about on GOODREADS in the description so that you can go and check out more detail if you want to. I really don't know too much about a lot of the books that I pick up because I like going in fairly vague because I like being surprised. Sometimes I'll know a key word or a key trope, but not always, and this is the case here. So this is on my TBR. It is short like the first book that I talked about. That's really the aim of this TBR, to not make it too long and intimidating. And speaking of long and intimidating, I have been reading this book and it's kind of become a meme at this point because I thought I would get through 5 books of this series this year, but it's taken me 5 months and I haven't even finished the second book yet, and that is the second Wheel of Time book. This is on this TBR because I want to read 100 more pages of this, so I don't necessarily want to pressure myself to get it finished, but at the same time I want to pick it up and get through it, so making some progress in it is the general goal here. This is a quest-based fantasy. It is the second book in the Wheel of Time, which is a very popular series. It follows Rand and a host of other characters as well, and they definitely stem from the origin of being a farm boy or being a poor group of people from a farm origin and then going on a big quest into the big wide world and discovering magic and mythological creatures and supernatural stuff and fighting to survive. And it's really a rags to riches kind of story in the sense to power for not just Rand but characters around him as well. And I enjoy a lot of the characters in here and I enjoy a lot of the story, but when I look at a book this thick, especially with me being in and out of a reading slump lately and having personal things going on as well, it just hasn't hooked me to the degree that I really hoped it would. And that's why I want to try and make some progress on it and not let it fall off my radar, because at one point I was really determined to finish this and then I got some news that was quite unfortunate and then I just put this down because reading was the last thing I wanted to do. So now that I'm back on the bandwagon of reading again, I'm picking up my motivation and hopefully I can pick this up with that motivation. I am currently loving the Dresden Files. I'm back on board with reading it. I've posted some new videos, so I will link those below, but I'm up to Ghost Story at the time of filming this. I'm waiting to film my review for Changes, which is going to be filmed directly after this video. And so once that's filmed, I have all of those thoughts fresh out of my head and I can start Ghost Story without having any kind of forewarning about what happens next, and I can talk about my theories fresh without starting this one new. So after Changes is wrapped up, then I'm jumping into Ghost Story. I anticipate I'll jump into the ones after Ghost Story as well, but for now this is the stand-in because this is where I've bought up to in the series, so I can't hold any of the others up after this. So I'm really excited. This is the 13th book in the Dresden Files. It follows a wizard detective named Harry Dresden. I've gone over this before. If you don't know what Dresden is about, I will link my review for it because I filmed a series of reviews and all of them have spoiler-free sections. Most of the beginnings of those reviews are now spoiler-free and I have spoilers after, but when I started filming reviews for the series, I only filmed spoiler-free reviews. So there are options there. Go check out my review of the first book. It is so fast-paced and the characters are amazing and I am really enjoying myself. I'm definitely a Dresden fangirl now. I only have 3 left. I was gonna say I only have 2, but I definitely have 3. Pending the third one. Anyway, the next one that I want to read is Fireborn. I have seen this talked about on Elliot Brooks's channel and that is where I got this recommendation from. I don't know too much about it. It says today it begins, today we will rise. I know it's a young adult fantasy book. I know it's about dragons. I don't know if it's multiple perspective or if it follows one character. Honestly, I just see this cover, I see Elliot talk about it and hold it quite high in her regard, and that makes me excited for it because more often than not we've had overlapping taste, so I hope that that is the case with this book. I will report back and confirm whether I like this or not, but we will find out together. And then the second last book on this list is a reread of Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I filmed a spoiler video for this when I read the second book, but I have filmed nothing about the first one. So I don't want to film a spoiler video because that puts a lot of pressure on me while I'm in the reading process, but I wanted to film content about it after the fact. So I wanted to revisit this and reread it because the third book in this series is going to be a quartet. So not the conclusion, but the third book in the series is coming out in November this year. So it would just be good to rehash what has already happened in this world because it's been a couple of years since I read this. I realized it's been like 2 years since I've finished Skyward and it feels like I have a very clear memory of reading it just because Brandon's books are so action-packed, but I actually barely remember much of the detail or the side characters, so it's time to revisit this. This follows Spencer and she wants to become a pilot at the Pilot Academy so that she can contribute to her society, which is living on a rocky planet that constantly gets attacked by alien forces, and so they constantly have to defend themselves. It is the last of the human race and she wants to become a pilot, but there's a lot of scrutiny on her doing that and pursuing that path because in the past her father was a pilot and then he turned into a coward and turned on his own flight crew, and so everybody has branded Spencer a coward as well, and being a coward in this society has a very big ramification because they value courage above anything else. And so she's trying to fight back against this label and you see how angry she is as a character, and I love her growth and I just really want to re-experience that, knowing now who she has become at the end of this book compared to what she was at the beginning. I think I'm going to really appreciate her growth, whereas the first 100 pages I was like, she's just an angry teenager, but I think now rereading it, it'll have a lot more value. Even though I gave this 5 stars on my first read of it, I think I'll really enjoy it again a second time, so that's why this is on my TBR. Also, it's nice to read something that I've already read because it takes the pressure off me a little bit. And then the last book on this list is one that I'm not trying to prioritize, but I don't want it to fall off my radar at the same time, and that is The 22 Murders of Madison May. This is a sci-fi that I got sent by Hachette, and I'm very grateful that I got sent this proof copy. It comes out in July. This is a book that follows a character and a serial killer that traverse different timelines, which I found very interesting. It's parallel universes, not timelines, so essentially a similar thing, but very deeply a sci-fi aspect. And I like that it is sci-fi and murder mystery combined in one, because those two genres together are something that I feel like I can really get behind. Plus I've enjoyed the work previously by the same author, so that is on my list as well, but I think it's going to be the last thing that I pick up after all of these things, so I still have time to read it before July, so I'm not too stressed about whether I get to this or not. But it's also a really cool cover, it's very bright, and I kind of need that in my life right now, so hopefully I can get to this one, but I'm not going to pressure myself too hard, if that makes sense. So these are all of the books that I either want to read or make progress on during the month of May. Again, I'm trying not to pressure myself, so this might be a pretty big stack if you consider not pressuring yourself, but I think all of these are going to be either fairly quick to read, fairly fast paced to read, and also not too pressurized because I'm only trying to get partway through one of them at least. So I think all of these are super doable. Hopefully that is the case by the end of May and I can kind of push myself out of this reading slump that I've been stuck in for a while. We'll honestly see how it goes because I want to be optimistic, but sometimes I just get so busy that I can't make time for reading even though I want to. So Fingers crossed that I finish all of these. Let me know what you're reading down below. I would always love to hear from you. But thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the comments and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.